Today's guest is Ian France, an established photographer who has recently moved into the world of CGI and 3D renders. Right, cheers Ian for coming in. Known you a long time. Back in the first ever, I think it was 2019 we met. I was shooting my first wedding. We actually talked about it on another episode where I only took a 64 gigabyte card and I ran out on the first dance and you saved the day by shooting some on your camera. But
yeah, man.
Yeah, so good times. But I wanted to just have a chat about how you got into photography first before we move into the CGI stuff. You know, you've been around a while now, mate.
OG, man.
OG, yeah.
It's 17 years now.
Jesus.
So 15 years full time.
Yeah.
No, 16 years full time.
Yeah.
So 18 years.
Jesus.
So quite a while.
Yeah.
So I did photography at school. So we had a dark room at school.
Oh yeah.
So that was quite cool. And then went into college, went to Stafford College, studied photography, and then went away to do other things. Didn't really do much. Had an SLR film. Did a few holiday snaps, as we do. And but my wife and I went to New York. And we went to B&H photo.
The B&H. It's legendary.
Years and years ago. Anyway, it was the first time I'd seen a digital SLR.
Yeah.
It was like a Nikon, a D1 or whatever it was. And I must have gone on about it, how cool it was all through the holiday.
Yeah.
And that Christmas, she buys me a Nikon, I think a D50, the very basic digital SLR.
Oh, bless her.
So I kind of picked it up from there, and I was still working at the time, and then it just, you do a bit, and you have a few competitions and a couple of copies of Amateur Photographer, you've got that bit of a vibe in it. And then people start asking you to take pictures of kids, and then someone asks you to do a wedding, and it just kind of snowballed from there, and it just kind of went and went and went. So I look around.
To interrupt, what did you do before? Because I don't actually know.
I was an engineer. I was in engineering. So some of it was actually 3D programming, like CNC stuff.
Oh, right.
So some of what I'm doing now
kind of transferred. We'll get to that.
So I kind of already had that 3D space in my head before. So I've kind of worked in engineering. So I carried on working for a year to get a year in front, and then just started to get these wedding bookings in.
This is something Ian does. Yeah, so just you work a year in front and don't pay yourself, right?
Yeah, so I went through it was 18 months really. I didn't take a penny out of the business for 18 months.
So you're always living on the previous year's earnings?
Yeah, so...
it's good, isn't it?
Dear Christ. I mean, it's tough. It's easier if, I had the luxury of having a job, so I could do that. If you just find yourself out of a job and one day you're a freelancer, you can't do that. It's really hard to do that.
Yeah.
So it's possible. You just chip away and keep it aside.
Yeah.
But particularly for the wedding industry, what I recognised quite quickly was the spread of where your bookings come in.
Yeah.
Is so can be so erratic and so far apart. Really different one year to the next. You're not just going to get this peak every year.
Yeah.
Where you talk you're going to get all your bookings in the summer. So one year, all your bookings might be kind of April, May, June. And next year, September, October, you could have 12 months of a gap with no cash coming in.
Yeah.
So you've got to manage that cash flow. So that's why I set it up like that. And it worked all the way through to the pandemic. And then it's no money coming in to replace the money that was going out.
Yeah.
Which was
which was the catalyst for.
No, yeah, kind of. It was more driven by boredom, to be honest. It was
And that's what Sam, our other guest, was saying about. I was just
got to get my
bored.
head into something, doing stuff. I was doing bits of Photoshop work and. Yeah, and
So you didn't opt for alcohol and barbecues like the rest of us.
I did that.
That's where the idea came from about it.
I've got this great idea.
We did that as well. Banana bread and
banana bread.
Yeah.
That's the cake of the pandemic.
Cake of the pandemic.
Fighting over bags of flour and
roll and stuff.
You couldn't get flour, could you?
No, there was
my mate Ben had to send me flour through a courier because we couldn't get any in the supermarket. So I've got a stash.
There was,
so he sent me a stash, and we made banana bread and lemon drizzle cake.
I didn't get it, but there was a wedding cake lady, and she had like big industrial bags of flour. She was like dealing it by the
She's like, I'm sorted.
standing on street corners, handing it out. Little bags,
if she had that and bog roll, she'd have been
laughing, mate, laughing. But yeah, that's so yeah, it kind of all started like that. And just, it wasn't, I would like to say it was intentional, but it kind of wasn't. It just kind of happened. I'm like, I like this. I prefer doing this than working for the man. Well, working for the man, like for when I first started. I mean,
That
So,
is
like,
the 3D stuff, and that's what you started doing in lockdown?
in lockdown, yeah. So yeah, I was just going back to right to the start, and it's 2008 kind of time, and it was. See, my personality, and a lot of creatives are like this. You put us in a 9-to-5 box, and you just go crazy.
Yeah.
Because some days, my best work is done at 10 o'clock at night.
We were mentioning this
And
again
you're most
earlier.
productive at 10 o'clock at night, and you just smash it out when you're just focused. And then another day, you just don't want to.
Yeah.
You just
It's like you're speaking.
You just can't do it. Yeah. So if somebody gave me a 9-to-5 job right now, they wouldn't get the best of me at all.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm investing in myself. Get the best of myself.
Yeah.
Because I've allowed myself the freedom
The flexibility.
and the highs are high, but in the lows are in the gutter, and it's a really lonely.
So you
place.
do better
It's
at
really
night,
high.
like working at night.
Some days, yeah. Some days, no.
No.
It's just
When
there's
the
no
mood
rhyme or
hits
reason
kind of thing
to
for
it.
it.
It's just it just rolls. You just pick up a work, and I think somebody said on podcast the other day that it's just the same. You just, if you want to have the day off,
that's it.
You just have to take off, man.
To sound, to repeat myself, but not everyone hears the same episodes. But like, I've got to the point now, is if I'm not up for it, I'll just go chill out and do something else. Yeah. Or as I've said before, productive procrastination. My mate James said about it. It's like, well, is there any other jobs you could be doing on your business? And I might have some photos to edit, and that's more chill to me. And I'll go do that, and I'll come back to it. But yeah, that's the beauty of it. You don't have to. I mean, you said yourself you struggle.
I struggle because if I'm exactly the same as you. Like sometimes I want to do it, sometimes I just don't want to do it. And I feel that if I'm not doing something, I'm failing. So then I'm really pushing myself, but then I'm really hating to do it, and I'm not being productive. I'm definitely procrastinating. I'm just being horrendous at what I do. And then sometimes, like, I'll be able to go, sound, I'm really in the mood for it, and I'll just sit on my computer, and I don't procrastinate because I'm just focused on it, enjoying it.
In the zone.
Yeah, in the zone for it, so yeah.
Yeah, I think if you could, there'd be some button to get you in that zone, because you like, your tea goes cold, you like, you miss calls, there's notifications on your phone that are built up, and you're like, where is those for like 5 hours gone?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's tough to... It's tough to keep motivated, particularly when you've been doing it a long time as well. You've really got to kind of be disciplined, but not disciplined to the point where you're pushing yourself and working yourself too hard. Because I've been through that as well, working all the fucking time.
Like, obviously you're in lockdown, you're bored. Like, what was it that made you go, you know what, there's this program called Blender, I'm gonna like make a chair or whatever. What was the first project? What was like I fancy a go at that. I know you mentioned engineering. Is that why it kind of appealed to you, because you got that background, or did you not even know the crossover there at that point?
No. So I was doing a lot of in lockdown Photoshop projects. So like Photoshop people's dog into. You've seen these like regal pictures of dogs.
I remember that.
Yeah, doing that. Like,
so it's like
it's probably an app for it now. But like, So like, I was doing that and other Photoshop projects, and I was trying to make. Like kind of art prints. I was doing like kind of Star Wars stuff. Star Wars
stuff. You got the
stuff.
Star Wars with the Stormtrooper on speeder
on the
back
bottom,
in
that's
New
where
York.
it started. So
I'll have to show you it.
So
if we could get that, and Mitch, can you put that in right now?
So I can show you. So normally with a composite, you'll pull together like different stills, and you'll cut it out and overlay it and whatever. And it wasn't quite the right angle.
Yeah.
So Photoshop tools, 3D, are kind of but they were kind of limited at the time. They're a lot better now. But I wanted to just turn that speeder bike just a little bit round.
Yeah. Oh, right. Is this?
How do I do this? And just like, So anyway, so it goes into the 3D tools of Photoshop and trying to do it. And then in the course of that, kind of stumbled across a Blender tutorial about 3D.
Right. Okay.
So, oh, this is cool. So I kind of got the bike into Blender and yeah. So anyway, I managed to do it. It's really cool.
So you recreated
so that
the
picture
bike.
I took in New York in like 2014, that like kind of shutter drag of the taxis going past. So I was trying to do this art. So I wanted to turn the bike, and then so I managed to do it, and I was like, this is really, really hard. This is like super deep, really complex. So I really got into watching VFX breakdowns for movies.
Yeah,
I love the
I
Star
love
Wars
those.
movies,
Yeah,
things like that. Look
when they
at how
strip
do
it
I'm
down
like,
and then build it back up.
Because you
this
always
is
watch it,
so
and
cool. This is like incredible. But you need some pretty serious power, computer power to do that kind of stuff. So anyway, so it started with that, and then I started to do little tutorials, and I don't really work that well with tutorial. I'm a more trial and error. Okay, I do it, that works, and what doesn't work, and that seems to go in quicker than just sitting there. Somebody going, click this, click that.
Right. Okay.
So you pick up bits. So anyway, so I started to make different like room sets and little projects, little things, just exploring really. And one of the guys that I had done last year, the year before lockdown, done photography projects for, and he makes these like copper bathtubs, like different kind of copper bathtubs, right? So I'd done photography for him, and obviously because of lockdown that couldn't happen, and he'd seen me playing with this stuff. So I guess a phone call, got the guy, oh fuck mate, he's just like completely like he's trying to get out there because everybody's redecorating the bathroom, but he can't get out there because he can't get the shoots and he can't get the stuff and he can't do it. So anyway, so he's like, can you do this? And I just went, yeah.
Love it.
Like that's Richard Branson, that. Say
Yeah,
yes first,
yes,
and then
screw
figure it out
let's do
after.
it. Yeah.
And that's so sorry, Steve, I didn't know how to do it.
Yeah.
But so I went through that project and managed to kind of scrape it through. It took me so long, so long. But that was the kind of first kind of actual paid gig to
I didn't
get
know
going.
that, and that's kind of like why I wanted to ask. Because
and it kind of just everything kind of just goes from there, and then he tells someone that he knows and someone that he knows, and it just all kind of snowballs through. But you with CGI, you get dragged off in so many different directions because it's so immersive, because you've got 3D modelling, you've got like obviously set builds, all the lighting renders, then you've got all the VFX stuff and that, and you're like, I wonder if I can make this chair explode or stick it and like green screen projects or smoke simulations or and all these things that you want to try and do.
But each one takes you
and it just kind of drags you off in different, and then obviously you need like enough computer power to do it. So I had to switch from Mac back to PC, just have enough oomph to GPU to do it, because like the first kind
Macs
of renders
haven't got it, have they?
The first renders that I was doing on this, it's like a pretty old MacBook Pro, but just one scene, a 4K scene, and it was taking like 3-4 hours just for one frame, just to render it out, and then you get to the end of it and you go,
that was wrong.
that plant's floating, or something's wrong, and you have to do it all again.
Pain.
So now I've got a pretty beefy setup, and that's
beefy.
got that down. So, super. I've invested, but that's the kind of thing when you can invest time, money into it because it's time. You're not just saying, I've got a really great computer just to look.
You've got a great analogy for that, haven't you? About the what makes the boat go faster?
Yeah, does it make the boat go faster?
Exactly.
Is it a want or a need? And if you can buy that thing, it makes your workflow better, or it earns you more money.
100%. It's productivity. It's going faster. So you have definitely. You definitely you've got to kind of invest in the right tools for the job.
Yeah.
I'm the same with cameras, to be honest. I don't there
you go. I find a camera.
I've never really gone out and bought the kind of
the latest,
the flagship or the latest. The most expensive. I'm like, it's the end product that matters. Like with cameras, it's
just a tool, mate.
It's the end products that matters.
So, like, obviously, between wedding and photography generally, like what. They're both creative, but like I think you mentioned something to me before, and I want you to talk about that. Is like the difference between photography and Photoshop compared to Blender. And I don't know if you remember that comparison, but you were saying like I spent all my life making everything look perfect, but there you go. So I wanted to lead you on to that because it was really interesting.
With photography, you take a picture and then you go, there's some dust on the so this microphone tape it, and there's some dust, and we've got to retouch all the dust, and we've got to make it super clean before we do it. to make stuff look realistic, you have to add in the imperfections.
The dust.
The world is just a big mess. So it's just, every little reflection. If you look at the reflection of your phone, it's never quite a perfect reflection. It's got like a bit of wobble to it.
Yeah.
Or it might be a bit of dust, a fingerprint, a mark, whatever. So that mindset is, it kind of blows your mind to think that you've spent your whole life doing one thing and then you've got to completely reverse it to get the end product to look how you want it to look. Everything has got different refraction, everything's got different levels of bump, and there's so many different settings to get a particular material. But that fascinates me. I love that. I love the challenge of saying, right, we've got to make this table. How can we make that look realistic? Has it got like a glossy sheen to it? Is it bumpy? Is it flat? All those different
and I
elements.
Think
it's quite technically creative, if you like.
Yeah.
You start going there, and that's a little bit more me than being, kind of fluffy.
Yeah, I think that's something I've seen in your journey with it. It's like the initial stuff looks super perfect, and that makes it not look realistic.
Yeah,
and then I've seen your work grow from lockdown. It's like you can see the stuff looks loads more real. Obviously, that's a journey you've gone on, but it looks loads more realistic, and that's because you're putting the imperfections in. It's quite a weird way.
Yeah, you start to see stuff that's not, that you didn't see before, and sometimes stuff that's not there at all.
Yeah.
So it's it's.
Do you look at the world now and go?
Oh, it's like the Matrix. In the Matrix when he sees, and he's like, and I look at it and I see like the geometry of how would I make that? It's just like that.
Yeah, I look at that like when I watch a movie. I like lighting. I know it's not in terms of depth of that, but I'm like, where's the light? And how's the shadows falling? How's the light falling? To see where the light was or how they're positioned accordingly.
So I just enjoy the movie
and everything. Exactly.
You find it interrupts your enjoyment.
Because I'm
like, because you can't. You're like trying to figure it out.
And I've missed a scene.
Thinking about that, and you've missed the plot.
And you kind of there's something just happened. I go, what just happened? Sorry, I was thinking, that light was over at that angle through that must have been through that diffusion. Do you know what I mean? It could have been something like that.
And you're like, Bev, look how good that light is.
That's this is shot. So
I'm like, I got a TV program. Rachel put a TV program up, and it was just the thumbnail. And she said, "Should we try this?" And I didn't look at the synopsis of it, and I was like, "That shot really well. I love the colours. Yeah, let's watch that." I made it on the finish of the video. I was like, "Yeah, I'm sold. Yeah, it looks great." I think since seeing some of your work and you doing these bathroom models and just general products like the razor blade company that you've done stuff for, I got to the point now where I'm looking at things going, was that a photo or did someone make that in Blender? So what do you think we'll get to a point where that'll be the way all the time? Are there any advantages to CGI over photography? When do you think a company would go, I prefer photography over CGI, or vice versa?
Since I've started to undertake CGI, you see it everywhere, and you recognise that's not real. That's not real. So for me, part of my job as a supplier to or a partner to a business, it's my job being skilled in both photography and that. I should be saying to the company, look, it's quicker just to take a picture of it.
Right, yeah.
So it's we need to do an analysis, a cost-benefit analysis. How long is it going to take? What's going to be the cost to build it, to model it, 3D model it? Or is it just cheaper just to stick it there and take a picture of it?
Yeah.
So, and obviously that's got to fit into their marketing plan as a whole as well. So lots of people, lots of focus at the moment on, social media marketing. Let's face it, a lot of it is just the intern with an iPhone. There's nobody in their right mind is going to come to me and order 20 grand's worth of CGI to stick on social media.
No.
And it's gone. Despite it's like, so you're looking at like kind of deeper advertising stuff, or you get to the point where stuff is so expensive to set build that it's more cost effective to CGI. Yeah. So, things like big room sets and stuff, like, you've got a room set here and the cost to build it, just to buy all the stuff and put it all together, is obviously, if you were just doing a photograph of it, it'd probably be cheaper just to CGI it to do that. So it's really, to anyone who's looking at that, they need to assess.
Yeah, and I guess that's your strength, right? Because you've done the photography.
Yeah, you
can
the
go,
cost benefit. It's all right, me go, I'll model that for you. But it's just.
But I guess as well, like the value for that is like both. you go, I know
Yeah.
that would be more expensive to
Yeah.
photograph, so
Yeah.
let me do it.
Well, yeah, I've done that. I've done that I've recently done some coffins.
Coffins.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
I
you
helped
helped me.
you
Yeah,
on
yeah,
a
you helped me.
shoot.
Yeah.
He's like, if you want to, what was
Yeah.
I doing? Just carrying them around for
Yeah,
you.
pumping
Not,
boxes.
you don't want to get in it. You don't want to get in it and then
Just
open
pretend
it.
to be dead.
For the benefit of the tape, they were empty, right? Like,
We didn't dig them up.
As an undertaker.
They were new.
They were heavy, weren't they? They were like, some of them were like
Solid
super
oak.
heavy.
Oh, God.
Like,
Just
really
because we
heavy.
had to move them in and out, and they put photos on them, didn't they? So it was kind of like, well, I need a second set of hands here.
But that was a conversation that I had with that client. Was, is it going to be cheaper for us to CGI it than it is to, we had to hire the venue, we had to do all the photography, do all the retouch, and it came out cheaper to do the photography. So we just went that way because they've obviously got to make the products as well. So you have to factor that in. So if one of those coffee costs $1,000, then if they sell it afterwards, then great. But
Yeah.
but it's that, and if things come in kind of 10 different colours, it kind of becomes cheaper to do CGI. So you've just factored it all in.
Yeah, of course.
Proper cost benefit analysis, not just this is
Yeah,
fun,
I think
this is
I've
great.
seen you do something. I can't remember what it was, where it was literally the same product and loads of different colours. It might have been, I don't know, like I think some rolls of tape at one point. You just have different coloured tape,
everything,
and it's just
sort of,
literally
but-
you going, right, okay, make that pink.
Oh, yeah.
You can do a lot of it in Photoshop. You can do stuff like that in Photoshop, but it's just that. It's that assessment, really. And I think as a business, that's our responsibility to guide because they don't know.
No.
They you've got to have a responsibility to take them in on that journey.
Yeah.
And because when I say, have a conversation with a client, I always say we.
Yeah.
And they go, we, thinking there's more than one of me. And I'm like, no, we, us.
Yeah.
I'm an extension of your business.
Right. That's a good way of putting it, yeah.
And
Wow.
that's and they go, oh, okay.
Yeah. You're collaborative, yeah.
Well, yeah, but it is. I see if you're picking up a freelancer, I'm an extension of your business because you're not employing someone to sit in an office.
Totally
It's
agree.
like,
It's a methodology argument.
yeah, it's and that's important to me as a partner or whatever you want to see it. But the same, I mean, I guess it's the same with wedding industry or photography or anything really. It's your job not to lead the client up the garden path. You've got to say to them, the amount of times people come in and go, oh, this photographer said we can have this, and I'm like, you don't need all that.
Yeah.
You don't need that.
Yeah, educate them, yeah.
And they're selling them all these extra things, and
They don't need it.
you just don't need it.
Yeah, cool.
So but yeah, I think that's but that's, I guess, is to an extent why I've been around
Forever,
a long time.
17, 18 years.
You don't. It's not about accident. I'm not. I don't
not
want
by
to blow me on trumpet, but I've always focused on the client and giving the client the absolute best that I can get, the best advice, the best product, the best quality, whatever it might be, and that's going to see you through. For anybody listening that is starting out, you've got to really focus on that quality of service and advice and.
We literally had that conversation in the car yesterday, didn't we?
Yeah.
About kind of, obviously you can have that product and it be as great as it is, but the service that's part of it is pants. It's
journey,
You know what I mean? Exactly.
So CGI, you can get to in India or wherever, low cost country.
Yeah.
They ain't ever going to get the same level of surface that I get.
Yeah.
Never.
No,
know?
yeah, totally agree.
So whether that be turnaround or advice or whatever, it's quite. They just take the money and run. That's it. They're not interested. So.
A big subject at the moment is obviously AI. It seems like it's everywhere, post-wise. Like, how do you see that affecting what you do? In the future, it's in a good place right now for a lot of things. But how do you see? Do you think it would, essentially wipe you out, or, what's your thoughts basically?
So there is a curve with AI. So at the moment, image and video training, AI data set training. There are thousands of repositories that are all tagged up, and the AI reads all the kind of Adobe stock, and it says, I know what a cup looks like, I know what this looks like. So it's able to generate its version of a cup based on all these data training sets.
Right.
Although there are stock libraries of 3D models, there's not as many around. So there is a bit of a curve behind where AI is going to get its information from, because you have to train AI first. You have to tell it this is what a cup looks like. So although it can do it, it hasn't got the extensive libraries.
Got limited knowledge as such.
Yeah, kind of. So, but obviously that'll come over time because people are adding to these libraries, and there's loads of avenues for that to expand. But if you look at the internet as a whole, there are billions and billions and billions of pictures all tagged up on every website. This is what a cat looks like, whatever. So AI can scour the internet so it knows what a cat looks like. Okay. So there is a curve where there's going to be a bit of a drag before this completely takes over. There are, prototype models out there, but so it can do it, but there's going to be a bit of a drag, a couple of years behind maybe. I see that it will take a lot of jobs. That's right. Everyone says it's kind of tool. Oh, it's just a tool. It's not. So if you think about practical effects like the old Star Wars days, right?
Yeah.
Little tiny models, stop motion animations, all that, right? And then you think about where we are now. CGI spawned a whole new industry, massive, wide industry.
Yeah.
So you just kind of replace one artist with another. So lots of jobs, lots of economy, and all the education that supports that. So you go to university to learn about CGI and whatever, and visual effects. Whereas with AI, I don't really think that you're replacing one artist with another. You're replacing with a machine. So you're going to have loads and loads of bot generated content, but nobody really behind the wheel. I don't think that AI needs us to sit there as prompt masters going, make me a movie about a cat, okay? And I think the reason for that is that creative direction is going to be flipped on its head. So at the minute, we've got a consensus, right? We sit in this room, we're going to make a movie. It's got to appeal to this set of people. And it's about a cat, right? So we go and we as a general consensus, we creative direct that movie, and everybody goes, oh, that's a lovely movie about a cat. I think that the whole process is going to be flipped on its head, where you're going to see a movie about a cat that's AI generated for you, but you don't like cats, so that movie's going to star a dog.
Yeah.
And I'm going to, or I like hamsters, whatever. So AI will have the ability to make movies, music, content just for you. Yeah. It doesn't need, and that's based on your inputs as a data set. So you like cats and curry, whatever.
Cats and curry,
cats and curry,
not cats and curry. Or cats and curry.
Yeah. So you like these particular things, and that's all generated from your digital footprint as inputs to AI. So it outputs what you like,
right? Okay.
And then yours are different.
Yeah.
So the consensus of creatives sitting around the table and going, how are we going to appeal to this group of people? Is gone. It doesn't. They don't need it. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So you can have all the tools you want. If the process doesn't exist, then
interesting.
What are you using the tools for? So that's my take on it. I might be completely wrong, probably am. But the other situation with AI is like supply and demand. So as the internet has grown, the demand for digital content has also grown. So it obviously creates jobs and industry around to providing that digital content. Yeah. So demand supply has kept up with demand. Yeah.
Yeah.
So with AI, if you increase supply, where's the demand going to come from? Other than this kind of individual content. So yeah, it's a difficult conversation for me. It feels like we're racing to nowhere or racing to the edge of a cliff at the moment where it's going to go, hey, whoosh. That's what it feels like to me. I mean, Elon Musk said that we're likely in the future going to move towards universal income.
I've heard about that, yeah.
So with that,
so universal.
Yeah, so like we don't have a job because there's no jobs because the robots do it all. Right, it's a bit kind of dystopian, right? Yeah, so you get they make the money and you get a share of the wage, which is
that sounds shit.
Kind of like
money.
yeah. It's not going to be lots of money. It's going to be just enough to live off.
Yeah. Yeah, that's quite
it's
quite
quite
a harrowing
dystopian.
view.
Yeah,
it's
isn't it?
difficult. It's a really difficult, and there's lots of theories around it. But the rate in which it's developing is frightening.
Yeah, it's really quick.
The guy who owns, I can't remember his name, the Nvidia guy.
Yeah.
He did a talk the other day, and he said like normally you get 100 times faster in 10 years. So every 10 years, computers and development gets 100 times faster
Than previous, yeah.
In the last year, they've gone like 10,000 times faster or something ridiculous.
Yeah,
But
exponential.
that's the
Yeah.
take off, ready for launch.
So what would you do? Go back to shooting weddings because you can't AI that.
it doesn't work offline, does it? That's the thing. Anything that's not plugged in, you're still gonna be there.
So shooting anything events wise, human experiences, you can't really replace.
But even if you position yourself and say that's what I'm going to do, there's going to be obviously going to be a tsunami of competition.
Yeah.
So it's going to get difficult. But what's the point worrying about it?
Yeah, exactly.
What is the point?
Very stoic, Ian.
It'll either happen or it won't.
Yeah.
So you just make hay while the sun shines.
Yeah.
And deal with whatever life throws at you in the next.
You can tell you've been in the Stoics, haven't you? Last year or so.
Yeah.
You?
Well,
Don't imagine. What is it? What's that? Don't fear. Imagine troubles.
Yeah. Don't live imagine troubles.
How I look at it, I'm not necessarily worried about it too much because the industry that we're in specifically is quite a creative industry in the sense of you develop yourself. So if someone comes to take over, you've already developed a skill. So where's the next skill to develop? You're in a position to be able to go, right then, I'll adapt. Where's the next skill for me to do and go along with my career, whatever it is?
As I said, that might be offline. You might go and learn to throw pots or,
What, sorry?
Throw pots, make pottery or,
I thought you said make robots.
I thought throw pots.
Throw
It's like,
pots.
throwing a robot.
Throw
Throw
pots.
robots.
So, you might take that thirst for knowledge and go and learn to do something offline, practical, woodwork, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
You're driven enough to
Exactly.
know that I need to feed my family. I need to go and do something.
Well, like you
that.
did
And
with
that-
your CGI, you're like,
that's exactly my point,
You'll always have that in you. So it doesn't. I'm not scared of it. I'm just, my take on it is that I don't really think it's going to be good for the creative industry for the reasons that I've stated.
So what's the future for Ian France? What's the goal? Where do you want to get to with this? Are you happy at this sort of level? Is there anything you're taking on in the future that you're excited about?
Over the last 12 months, I stood at a position where I said to myself, if you chase two rabbits, you don't catch any of them.
Yeah. One who catches two rabbits catches none, is the phrase.
Right.
Yeah.
But then recently I have kind of said, well, so what? You know what? Just as long as I've got money coming in, I don't really need to close one end of the business down to focus on that. Running two businesses is hell on earth. Just getting out there and marketing, and it's
doing your TikTok dances in the kitchen.
Oh mate, don't. I haven't posted on my kind of social media for a while, just like wedding stuff. Because it's exhausting. It's absolutely draining. It is. It really is. And when you've got to do two different avenues across 3 or 4 different platforms in different ways, it's a nightmare, So my intention was originally to say, right, okay, let's slowly kind of shut down that side of the business, the photography side, and pick up more with this. But the conversation we just had about AI is kind of trying to think, well,
maybe I shouldn't.
I don't. Do I really need to do that? Am I just, So I think we're just going to kind of carry on where we are, just kind of running both in parallel, and just try and grow the CGI up enough to be more comfortable and not have to be more selective about which
weddings and
weddings
photography
you take and
really
where they
good.
are, because
it's all about getting to that point where you can be selective.
To shoot a wedding in, the other end of the world, it's just
it's tiring.
Yeah, it's, you look back on it, and although it's a great experience, family life suffers.
Yeah,
and that's precious, man. That's really is. My focus has definitely shifted more towards being more available at home.
Yeah, that's it.
More.
What's the point in
and
working?
More available for myself.
Yeah.
You know, so more. Yeah, because So Christmas time.
Yeah.
So Lindsay's. So my wife's dad passed away at Christmas time, and that's really changed
The way
my perspective on work and strive and
yeah.
just kind of think.
What's the
You
point
can
working
do
if you've
it,
got
yeah.
no time?
Don't. You can do it. You be there. You can do it. You don't have to do it all the time.
No.
You don't have to be there all the time. You can give time for yourself. Recently started going back to the gym,
Yeah.
do a bit of swimming.
Yeah, that's it. Awesome.
Make time for yourself, man.
Yeah,
That's because
Most important thing.
it ain't all about work. And,
No.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. So, for those watching, listening, where's the best place they can check out your awesome work, be it your photography and your CGI?
You can go to Ian France Weddings on the gram, Ian France Visuals on the Instagram, and then the website fcphotography.co.uk and ianfrance.com for the CGI stuff.
Thanks, mate. It's been a pleasure having you on, mate.
That's right, yeah.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and we'll see you next week. Bosh. Quick, stop recording. That was great, mate. Really interesting.
Yeah, very good.
All right.
Good, intellectual, interesting conversation with some value and insight and all that.